Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to yet another Dota 2 Super League Showdown. It's Orange versus LGDN. It's game number 2. And LGDN, they looked solid. They took care of CK Wisp. Orange had an early lead, but couldn't capitalize on it. I'm LD. I'm joined by Lumi, and it's now time for game 2.
Yep, I'm somewhat disappointed that the draft hasn't really reflected the changes of 6.78. The only big change, which Boba vehemently tweeted about it, is the Cogs change, which had a big change.
It made a big difference.
Yeah, 3 BKB heroes not being pushed back by Cogs, and we kind of talked about throughout the entire game. Once BKB's up, there's just no answer, and we'll see if this game's going to come down to a similar result. The picks and bans are well underway. Bat Rider, Shadow Demon for one side, and it's going to be Life Healer and Nyx Assassin for the other. And Orange Esport could have the exact same low start.
It feels like you said, it feels like 6.77.
Yeah.
They're drafting the exact same way so far. Maybe we'll see different picks, but these are the identical bans you would be seeing at the G1 League and also in the Dota 2 Super League right before 6.78 came out. Lumi, hopefully they'll surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, it's new drafts, and I actually recently made a statement. Back in the Dota 1 days, there was a stable version, and then there was like the new version. And even though the new version came out, people will still play on a stable version. Now, for fans at home, you want to see new heroes, and that's
Of course, yeah.
That's a good thing. But
Screw the old version.
at the same time, the pros haven't really practiced the new heroes with the same practice that they had with the old ones.
They played 6.77 for what, 4, 5, 6 months?
Yep.
It's a long time.
And you expect them to play Spirit Breaker new, and sure, they could do it.
But will it be at the top of their
Exactly.
game?
So, again, we're going to see Gyrocopter first pick. We're going to see Darkstar Alchemist, and that's great. So, 6.77, I just saw the new map.
The other talking point in that regard is we have seen the Western teams experiment more, and I suppose you could argue that LGDN has a Western flavor to them, even though they've spent a lot of time training in China. But end of the day, these teams play a lot less tournaments, and this is a much bigger tournament than your average online cups, where you'll see Alliance pick something unusual, or you'll see Bloodseeker picks ups. This tournament, $165,000 in prize pool, one of the last major events these teams will have an opportunity to compete in before the International 3 online, or before the boot camp and whatnot.
There might be another tournament coming up soon.
We'll mum's the word for now on that, but one of the last ones for sure.
Sure.
So with that in mind, you know, maybe it's understandable they're experimenting a bit less than the Western teams.
Well, in any case, what they are going to be having to deal with, LGN themselves, is a possibility of a very powerful trialing. Gyrocopter and Visage already a kind of a strong core. We've seen things like Visage Earthshaker or Visage Jakiro, and that's generally enough to kind of break any type of trialing. So LG with a Darkseer pick themselves. With Darkseer, a lot of teams like to run it in the jungle nowadays, or they could run it traditionally on that long lane. The versatility of the laning coming out from LGN is what they're banking on, because Alchemist could definitely play that one role, or play it mid like G has been doing so far in the first game.
Yeah, and we've seen Misery in the off lane, and I think he's been doing a pretty good job there. If they want to run an off lane Darkseer, put the Alch mid, that seems like the obvious way to lane it. Of course, the question is, who will PyCat play? Now, Lumi, there has been one change since the last version, which is we're seeing a lot less Lone Druid. That hero normally run as a safe lane farmer, often as a solo in the Chinese scene, where I think the nerfs don't really hit him as hard. Sure, the armlet nerf hurts, but the bear bounty, your bear's pretty unlikely to die 1v1, especially safe lane, but we're just not seeing Lone Druid picks, and we're often not even seeing him banned right now.
I mean, the armlet changed actually quite a bit, because even in that 1v1, he could win that 1v1 lane, force him out. And once you're out the lane and he has an armlet, your tier 1 towers are going gone.
Right.
And also the tower bounty change hurt him quite a bit too. When you lasted those towers, as a hero, you got more gold. And for a Lone Druid that could last the towers as easily as he breakfast, that's a lot of snowball gold that you're missing.
You get 2 towers, you have your armlet, you have your phase, you have your boots or even your tranquil boots on your hero, and you're working towards the Hyperstone already. So
now you're working with a quote-unquote more or less suboptimal build of like Maelstrom Radiance, which is still nice, but you just don't get the same snowball effect that you used to have. And you can't see just well with the armlet armor bonus, and that's why we see Lone Druid. Maybe I still think he's worth a pick. For example, if they third pick Lone Druid right now, I won't be completely surprised. But we just don't see the same commanding first pick or ban presence that Lone Druid used to have.
The other thing we've seen is for Orange and LGDN, these teams are willing to run aggressive tri lanes. They're also willing to do a lot of smoke ganking, dual roam from LGDN we've seen in the past. Orange, we saw last game even, Extinct not afraid to go for solo smoke ganks, and that can punish the solo Lone Druids. That's another reason maybe to pick somebody who's a little bit more survivable against ganks. Unless you're Sylar, you can't always juke out of those.
Right. Or Amber Bulldog,
Bulldog,
who's a good juker himself. But in any case here, we're going to be up to the third pick here for LGN. I guess one of the bigger change from the 6.78 captain's mode is that you now are down 8 heroes before you even pick your third. And against certain teams, like for example Alliance, who has a ton of signature heroes, this is a decent way to ban out a player. Also against certain players that only play like 4 heroes, you could ban them out completely.
Well, I don't know if we'll see that, but you could definitely target a few specific bans.
Yeah,
so if you're up against Alliance, maybe you remove the lone Druid in the first stage if you're still worried about it, and then you get rid of the Prophet, something like the Clockwork in the second stage.
Oh, I wasn't meaning Bulldog specifically when I said that, but like certain.
Well, that would be an example, though.
Yeah. That would be a good example. But looks like Orange. It seems like both teams are just picking each other's hero here, as we have Orange Esports going for support Sanking, I'm imagining, and Clockwork going to be most likely handled on the long lane. And what I want to see, hopefully, is Darkseer and Clockwork both on the dual off lane. It's been a powerful combo in the past. It's just so hard to actually kill that lane. They could even go up against like a Gyrocopter Visage and still be okay, because once you hit level 2, you have access into Surge and Cogs, and it's just hard to actually get a kill against that lane.
Would be interesting to see. For RNG Esports, we look at their draft in flexible. Gyrocopter can solo mid. We normally see him as that safe lane farmer for this team, but it is an option. Aggressive tri-lane's an option with these 3 heroes, with another hero plus the Visage. Sand King, they don't have the best roam for Orange. That's the one thing which I think we won't see too much from them, but lots of options for them. And Crystal Maiden, the choice for LGDN, was banned out with that final ban, I believe, in the last game. And we've seen DK use this hero very effectively. Will be slipping through and picked up this time around.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden, I mean, a lot of times you say, hey, she's somewhat ineffective as a hero because you're so much reliant on your early game, but she gives you that early game. She has like over 1,000 initiation range, which for melee heroes to catch up, like an Alchemist to charge up your stun, that's exactly what you need. Do nukes early on. Also, with the recent change of buffing your aura, she gets a ton of aura regen. She's a lot more spammable. You catch up in the jungle by eating a centaur creep with your frostbite. It's just not that bad of a support now. I don't think she's a top tier support like Shadow Demon and Rubik and all that, but she's on the fringe of like a second tier support.
You know, Ice Frog keeps on buffing Freezing Field. There was that one amazing play at the International too. I think it was Melk, when a couple heroes got caught in a Chronosphere, just lands a Freezing Field and blows everyone up. That is the one good Freezing Field I've personally seen, I feel, in like the past 9 months in competitive play. And
it's fair point.
It did come at the International. Maybe we'll see even bigger Freezing Fields in the coming months and weeks and months. But Windrunner, the choice for RNG Sports, they actually ran an aggressive tri-lane Windrunner, I believe, at the G1 League.
Twice, 2 games in a row.
In the playoffs, I believe it was against DK. Yep. And in one game, it didn't work. The other game, it did, if I recall correctly.
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Very good at shutting down melee farmers. That's really the strength of that particular tri-lane.
And the one game it didn't work, it was against Alchemist, Crystal Maiden, and then Dying, which is the last man.
I can't believe you remember that.
I don't even know why it just popped. I was like, oh, I'm dying.
But no one dying this game.
Yep, and that is actually a very kind of scary tri-lane deal against, right? Nova Tombstone gets dropped down as spray and then stun. Like, how do you actually survive that? So it's a decent ban out, but they do have very survivable heroes. Visage is unnaturally tanky with his Gravekeeper Cloak. Sand King, you know, Burrow Strike, Sandstorm, and then Windrunner being able to get away from most ganks. So it's not a bad start here from Orange Esports.
The one thing they lack is good immediate initiation. Sure, you have Grave Chill, but against Darkseer, Clockwork, the Cogs come out, the Surge comes out. Maybe that doesn't help you. Crystal Maiden's the obvious target. They're here you want to pick off. We'll go now to the last 2 picks for LGDN, and well, they could have their 3 cores here with the Alchemist, Darkseer, Clockwork, or it could be a support Clock, even a 4-position Darkseer, and then maybe another hero as the carry. For RNG Sports, it looks like, well, for them, they'll need a solo as well.
Yeah, I wonder if support Clockwork's going to be the thing now, and then Darkseer off lane and pick up solo mid.
The thing is, Cogs are so much weaker now. Something, as you mentioned, Bulba was tweeting about. Is it worth giving him farm priority? Well, he'll be a farmer this game.
Yeah.
Earthshaker, the final choice for LGDN. Very strong tri-lane now for them. You have Fissure, maybe Cogs in the tri-lane. If not, it's just Crystal Maiden, Earthshaker, Alchemist is very potent by itself.
I feel that Cogs is going to be better this game compared to the last, simply because Gyrocopter so far is only the true BKB carry. I don't see anybody else getting a BKB, so
agreed.
Effectively, it's still going to be the OP Cogs, if you will. It's not going to be good against the Visage Birds, but at the same time, Sand King's not going to find a good epicenter, Blink Dagger or not, so it's going to be having that similar effect. And look at the initiation range coming out from LGD. AoE's there, the range is there. Of course, Earthshaker buffed through his Fissure, 1300 cast range. Now, I don't think he needed that buff range, but now it's even scarier to lane against. Like, this is he could Fissure you from fog during daytime, and there's just no answer against that.
It's actually pretty ridiculous. The other thing is it's a lot easier to find fissure blocks, which you look at Orange, only Sand King can really get away from those with Burrow Strike. Windrunner won't be able to, Visage won't be able to, so could really make the difference in the tri-lane. And for RNG Sports, what do you think we'll see here? Looks like probably a solo, probably Mushi's hero. No Queen of Pain in the pool, no Puck. What do you go to? They've run the mag a lot for him in the past as a solo mid. Is that something you want to go for here? They'll go Obsidian Destroyer, Outworld Destroyer. The last time we saw this Lumi for Mushi, as I recall, was at the G1 League Season 4 LAN Finals, and he just humiliated Invictus Gaming on LAN.
Here's the big problem with Obsidian Destroyer. It's always been a problem. He's got a recent 5 MS buff or whatever. The problem remains is how do you survive ganks? And against heroes like...
Against that 1300 range Fissure?
There you go. Yeah. And the Crystal Maiden that can fall off quite easily. They can gank him with Surge. Who's going to be going mid? It's going to be Darkseer going on the mid lane. That is so scary to lane against because suddenly supports are coming out of fog, smoked up, surged up with Iron Shell on top. You get Nova, you get Bitten, you get Bridger, you're dead. So
this is a game where you want Net to have a very early TP scroll, maybe even at the 3-minute mark.
Sure, yeah.
That could turn things around.
I'm not even sure if that's enough because it's just really scary. But let's quickly introduce Orange as they're down 1 game in this best of 3 series. Mushi will be playing the Outworld Destroyer solo mid. Very stat heavy, no quick bottle rush for him. Extinct's going to be playing the Visage. And of course we do have Sanking going to be handled by Net. KY Sweat is going to play that 1 mode Gyrocopter. Last but not least, Ohio going on to the bot lane seems like on safe lane Windrunner.
Safe lane Windrunner going to get that solo experience and farm, and let's see what he's up against. On the other side, you've got the boys from LGDN with the big bad new Fissure at their side. Brax, fantastic Sand King last game. Every stun felt like it was 2, 3 heroes or more. He'll be playing the Earthshaker now. We'll see if the Fissures are as good as the Burrow Strikes were. LGDN, they lead the set, the best of 3, 1-0. They win this game. They're 2-1 in the group, and suddenly in pretty good shot, or in a pretty good place to be able to advance and move on to the playoffs. This is Group B action, of course. After this group concludes, we move on. 1437 on the Crystal Maiden. Observe rewards for him. G, actually going to be an offensive tri-lane Darkseer towards the mid lane. We'll see Pycat playing the solo mid Alk, has been pulled a set of tangos to rush his bottle. And last but not least, Misery, the 3-role nowadays. He'll be playing that safe lane clock.
So the way that they're laning this right now with Crystal Maiden and Earthshaker going off lane, and then you have a Darkseer, it means that your 2 supports could easily roam off, and Darkseer should be fine as by himself. So I guess it's okay. It's just actually quite risky because if that gank fail on the mid lane, you suddenly go on the bot lane, you're sharing a ton of EXP with Darkseer, which he doesn't really like to share. He's that one mean kid that don't want to give candy in kindergarten. He just don't want to share. And that's, I mean, I guess you could dodge it in jungle and allow Crystal Maiden.
The other nice thing about their tri-lane is they have a lot of solutions for Windrunner. Windrunner's not going to help you against Frostbite. It's not going to help you too much against Fissure. And on top of that, because it's a Darkseer tri-lane, they can get the tower early, pushing with Iron Shell. They could also even just farm Orange's own pull camp.
Ohio's, he's got a double damage, but
feeling a little confident here.
Yeah, they did see her pick up the DD, so they should know. Also, Crystal Maiden got for Nova first, so that's better. That's a better ganking spell, simply because that's more range. I think what Darkseer is looking to do right now is push it across and then get the tower dive going here. And, well, Shaker getting in position.
Well, they don't have Frostbite, so Windrun might be helpful. It'll all come down to the Fissure for Brax for right now. They're contesting the pull, and Ohio is driven very far back. He'll circle around. 1437 leading with Nova. Won't be able to do a whole lot, but now the DD wears off, and mid lane, we're going to see a rotation as well. Sand King's heading down. It looks like they realize, and I think this is the correct call, that Ohio just can't take this matchup 1v1. The question is, what will Sand King add to the lane? Will it be enough?
I think he might be adding an easier target to initiate on the lane because Windrunner, like you said, a big problem to actually initiate against. Sand King?
Oh, they're already smoked. They're going to wrap around. Sand King isn't going to be able to dispel that smoke. A little bit confused.
Oh, they know. They absolutely...
Oh, did they see him?
Yeah, I think so. They absolutely know that Sand King has rotated off. They say, hey, this is our ploy all together. We're going to rotate to the mid lane. And there is no Sand King backed up. You talked about Net needing a TP. Well, he doesn't have it right now. He's still level 1.
He's rushing towards mid, but will it be in time? The smoke just got revealed. I don't know if they've actually spotted it out. 1437 is going to lead the way with the Nova here. Now the poison being channeled. Can Mushi get off the self-astral? He can't, but the Fissure blocking Mushi on the wrong side in the end. The first smoke gank, not a success. You can give Fissure a longer range, Lumi, but that doesn't change how it pushes you onto one side or the other.
It also gave him a better turning point, which should help with casting Fissure. Unfortunately,
just slightly off the mark.
Yeah, slightly off the mark, and now they have to go back as a result on the top lane. And Well, start
That's pretty
helping
big,
top.
because Mushi was absolutely dead if that Fissure's on the other side. He's even going for a haster in top, and he'll deny it and maybe get out too. Mushi runs right in and spits in the face of the 3 heroes for LGDN. Well, that was a little bold, but in the end, he'll escape.
Like, this is not a hero with a blink or something like that, not a puck orb to get him out. He's just like, oh yeah, I'll strut it against 3 stuns, no problem.
Thing is, they really needed to kill him because this lane gets very hard for Pycat as Mushi levels up Astral Imprisonment. Once it gets high enough, Pycat won't even be able to use Acid Spray. Once you start stealing enough of his intelligence, Alk doesn't have great base int or great intelligence gain. He won't be able to spam Acid Spray, and that really neuters solo mid Alk, so that gank failing is a pretty damn big deal.
It really is, and for me the bigger deal is what the hell do they do right now? You have a Crystal Maiden, that's level 1, 2.5 minutes, and it looks like she's going to be going for a little bit.
And she even took Nova, so
yep, no bite farm.
Not good at jungling. If you take Frostbite, like you mentioned, you can kill things like Centaurs at level 1.
Yep. Meanwhile, Extinct, though, blocking that pull, so very nicely done. And it looks like they might close in on the top lane. And this is, I think, the matchup that Orange Esport wanted.
Oh,
Trialing versus Trialing up top, especially with under-level and under-farm supports.
I think it could have gone LGDN's way, if they start pulling right away and are getting the equal levels in farm. But you already have level 3 on the Gyro, 2 on the Visage, as well as level 1 on the Sand King. He actually hasn't got anything, but, well, his level 2 doesn't really help him too much. Misery's spotting him out, trying to go in right now. Burrow Strike on Misery, caught under the Rocky Barrage. Is there going to be enough follow-up? He's low, but not dead yet. Fissure catches out too. No Soul Assumption. It's cooling down. Does he have the range? He does. Misery will be your first blood. Meanwhile, it looks like bottom lane, was there a bit of a dive here?
Yeah, there was a bit of dive. G was being forced out, but LD, what kind of question is that? Does he have the range for Soul Assumption? That thing has like 3 screens away, it feels like. No cooldown.
You're right.
OP spell.
He got off 2 in one fight,
yeah,
and that
exactly.
was the difference.
Yep. And they easily got that kill.
Wow, is he really?
Farming Clockwork.
Extinct is 6-0 when playing Visage. Hell, Visage is really winning a lot of games.
Who isn't 6-0 when they're playing against Visage?
That's very impressive, though. Yeah. Visage has a good win rate, but not that good. Fissure's going to clip KYXY. Now he's in trouble. Nova's there, and a kill that probably shouldn't have happened. Just out too far by himself with the supports off the lane. Something he should have just been playing more defensively.
And again, he didn't see Shaker, right? Like, he's like, oh, maybe Shaker's pulling, and suddenly the Fissure comes out of fog out of nowhere, and that's a free one. So that was a very important kill for these supports. Bring himself level 2 and level 3 respectively, and looks like they're going to make yet another go with the Burst Strike to lead it up, and as well as Rockets.
She's kind of getting outplayed mid. He might even go down if Pycat can find the stun. He's surging in. Can he get the vision? He will, but a self-astral keeps him safe. Pycat permanently has mana, apparently. Looks like Mushi just has not been able to astral him enough, and I mean, if you're astraling the Alk enough, he can't use his nukes, but apparently it's not the case. He's getting them off.
He's been bottle curling.
Well, but if his intelligence is low enough, he won't even have the mana pool to use it. But Mushi looks like he's been self-astraling quite a bit here.
Yeah, to dodge himself from stuns and whatnot. Orange on the top lane here, still winning that trialing here, being able to steal a pull the creep wave away, get some farm going on. There's another astral spam on the mid lane, and yeah, he's sitting at 300 mana. He could just double bottle up, drop a single acid spray, and go back to business.
Yeah, Mushi needs to chain them together. That's what he wants to do, but Pycat's sitting back. Now drops the acid spray. Mushi on the run again. He'll astral him one more time. If he can get off one more, then things get a little bit tricky for Pycat. A little bit dicey at that, but for the time being, we're seeing creep skipping bottom from G. And Lumi, how do you feel about the overall trades of this game? For me, the big thing is Gyrocopter is getting a crap load of farm in an aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah, also, I mean, what LG got out of the exchange of starting Crystal Maiden and Earthshaker low on the bot lane zone out the Windrunner has not really been enough. Unless G gets like a 10-minute mech and start winning team fights, I just don't see it as a favorable trade. There's supports on the top lane consisting of Crystal Maiden and Earthshaker who's not really ganking. The one gank that did it was failing. So I just don't think they're getting good exchanges.
Meanwhile,
they're going to focus on net.
Well, he's got Burrow Strike, and they just don't feel they can find the kill. Both solos for LGD want to check the bottom rune. Normally, you'd see
they're going to go up top. Gyrocopter, I think he's dead. A single Fissure should actually do it.
He's
Nova
trying to find a way out here. Nova is there, but not the kind of Nova you want. The kind that's forced in the hard way. Can KYXY live with the Burrows here? It catches two. They get one. They want more. Power shots here. Everybody arrives. The backup comes in. Brax with the Soul Assumption to the face. Maybe going down. They need one, maybe two more auto attacks. Net's going to back off. Another TP. Power shot just slightly off the mark. In the end, though, they do get the Clockwork as well as the Crystal Maiden. So a 2-for-1. Gyro being the death. Pretty even. The other thing that I just realized, well, actually I realized it like a minute ago. Mushi, 28 denies. He's not stopping Alk from spamming Acid Spray, but he is denying the crap out of Pycat. And level 7 already, Pycat just hitting level 6.
Yeah, don't forget that whenever you're casting Astral Imprisonment, not only are you taking away mana, you're gaining intelligence, which means your base damage is going through the roof, and against a melee hero that has to walk all the way up to you, that is just easy pickings when it comes to deny.
Yeah.
Mushi out CSing hard on the mid lane.
He's also up to 900 gold here, and we'll see what he goes for. The one thing about OD is he's so versatile with his item builds. You can rush a mech on him because he's an intelligence hero that's pretty squishy, doesn't have HP regen, really benefits from the heal and the armor. You can go for the early Force Staff, the utility items. You can even just go for some mobility, things like phase, drums are not too bad, or even your treads drums. But we'll see what he goes for the time being. LGDN, they're smoked up, and they're looking for a kill. Can they find one bottom? Pycat will lead the way. He's got the smoke here. He'll start with the ultimate. Now going to be channeling a stun, but KYXY already the secret shop. Oh, in a lot of trouble. Caught out. Does drop the cooldown. Pycat just gets the stun off in the nick of time. If he didn't, he could have easily died there. Oh, he really cut it down to the wire. Meanwhile, mid lane, Mushi, he'll pop the invis, he'll back off.
Yeah, Pycat, I guess, took it really close, but what he basically did was drop the Acid Spray first, which actually increases your damage.
A lot.
Of Unstable Concoction. That actually Burst Strike on the low ground steals a haste stream from Pycat. Nicely played. And the other big thing that I forgot to mention, when you have two very low-level supports against a Destroyer, you need to gank this guy, because if you just let him sit there and trade farm, he's going to win against any single farmer. You need to gank him repeatedly. That one gank failed, and because you have low-level supports, they really don't have the time.
And they're going in right now. Net's going to lead the way. No, he comes in. He walks back out. He's afraid of the Frostbite catching him after he burrows in. He hunts Misery. In the end, oh no, he could be in trouble. Hook's there. It's going to just melt from full HP. Net just kind of...
Great chain stuns, yeah.
Yeah, flaunting himself, and he'll pay. And it's not just an OD with his ultimate looming, it's also call down and flat cannon. That's a lot of AoE. But they're going to dive in now. Pycat leading the way. He's channeling the stun. Can he find the right target here? He's looking. They want KYXY. They'll get the stun off. The follow-up should be there. Where's that shackle from Ohio? It's cooling down. It didn't connect. They're going to lose one. They may lose more. Extinct. He's on the run too. LGDN just face rushing, but there's a nice shackle. Catches out two. OD to follow. They jam it in. They kill off G. And Net once more backs off of Brax. I think easily could have had the kill. They decide Pycat the better target, and indeed he is. He'll get picked off. They lose the Darkseer. They lose the Alk. And Crystal Maiden barely escapes with her life.
Yeah, she was just eating tower shots as she made that dove and was able to make it out alive. Good exchange here from Orange Esport, not only getting a 1 kill advantage, but more importantly, your Visage hitting level 6. That means the damage output of your team has significantly increased. Man, this hero... We've seen him just multiple times sitting very far back and just dancing in and out with soul assumptions and getting a ton of kills. You got to keep in mind that right now Orange Esports playing 4 versus 5, and they're winning 4 versus 5.
Oh,
Mushi has not even contributed at all. He's going to be going for a quick, I want to say Force Staff. Yeah,
it looks like a Force Staff, and against Clockwork, this really neuters the clock. Sure, you don't have a BKB hero, but he cogs anyone, you just Force Staff them away.
Yeah, it's just not against a Clockwork, because a lot of times we saw LGD like killing from range. You saw how, for example, how that Sand King down the bot lane, right? Frostbite, Clockwork Hook, and then stun, he's dead. You have a single Force Staff there, you disrupt the kill, and suddenly they're down a bunch of nukes, and you could re-engage on them and take advantage of their cooldown.
LGDN have that chain stun, that gets you the first kill, but what gets you the follow-up kills is the Darkseer chase, like you said. And I mean, well, they'll go in now. Burrow Strike called down to follow up. G dropping low. Can he surge his way out? He cannot. He'll drop. And the early mech that I really agree with you, I feel they need, that's being delayed now. Another death for G. 71 CS, some of them neutrals, but 1, 2, and 1. Not getting the farm he wants. And you look at who is getting the farm. It's Ohio, who almost has his own mech, but he gets hooked top lane. Could be in trouble. Misery. Well, Ohio can't actually shackle shot him. He's waiting to pop the wind run. He's held on to it for a long time, and now he'll actually get out. That was a crucial save there because it means the mech is going to be coming very soon.
Oh, and Pycat's going to stun himself as well as his birds drop down.
Oh.
Are they going to go for the kill? That's a question.
Oh, they might go back in. Power shot's there. It's a long way to go. The shackle's not going to connect. Just chasing, but now Net joins the fight. They say 1437, they say Crystal Maiden, your move speed did not get buffed. You can't mana your way out of this one. Well, in the end, she'll walk away, though. Now the stun for Pycat. Are we going to see Invis? We are. Now Burrow Strike back in. Shackle to latch. Pycat's going to blow himself up in a hurry. He'll go down to the birds. Beautiful play. Extinct's got a soul assumption. He'll toss it out now. Who's he going to throw it on? It looks like he drops it on G. G's dropping low. That's everyone melting. 1437 on the run. Power shot pierces through, picking him off. And Misery, too. Call it an absolute disaster for LGD and Orange. They got overwhelmed in game 1, but in game 2, they're off to a very scary start.
Just choosing to fight Visage over and over and over again is just not a good business, because as long as he doesn't die, as long as he has mana, he is just spamming. Look at him, he's got boots. He doesn't even have a magic stick. He's just actually just using his.
He's got 1,800 gold as well. He's gonna have a big item soon too, Lumi.
I mean, those birds, as well as those soul assumptions, and yeah, he's doing just a ton of work.
I wouldn't even mind just seeing an Aghanims rush this game. We saw that in that epic long game between Kaipi as well as EG a couple of days ago, where Come With Me ended up being the second most farmed hero on his team, only slightly behind Eternal Envy's Void. Well, I think that was a sad game for Kaipi overall, but he played a fantastic semi-carry Visage, and with this kind of farm, if you want to, you can. He'll go Arcane Boots, certainly nothing wrong with that, and they've got the 4-staff on Mushi, they've got level 7 on Net. They're smoked up, and they're going to hunt kills. You look at Orange's lineup, Lumi, and they're a lineup to me that in a normal game would want to sit back and farm, but they've had such a powerful start, they want to take the fight to LGDN.
And this is a problem having Crystal Maiden and Earthshaker as your dual support. They just don't do much without level and farm. They're going to go on top lane. Visage's going to really nice disengage, and they'll back off.
Here comes the backstab. They're going to go in from the backside. Net channeling Epicenter. He'll burrow straight in. The Astral's going to set it up. It's going to catch one. G's dropping low. Astral as well as the follow-up Soul Assumption. Enough to bring him down. Ohio finds 2 with the Shackle. Call down. Massive AoE. Massive damage. 4 heroes dead. My goodness, that one is going to hurt. LGDN. The face rushers getting face rushed by a gyrocopter, a windrunner, and an OD. It's a team of flying creatures, and I mean, just raining down the hellfire on LGDN.
Earthshaker buys back as well, teleports in, cancels the TP, so that's a ton of gold down the drain. Man, that was one of the worst team fight LGD have ever had. I don't think this team fight or this team composition could come back, because what are you gonna do with the Earthshaker and Crystal Maiden support? 20 minutes in?
And even a hero like Alchemist, he's a melee carry with no farm, isn't going Grievel's Greed.
Right.
So he'll be slow to catch up, and the other thing is...
he has Boots Bottle Blades.
There's so many ways to control him anyway. They have Astral, Grave Chill, Burrow Strike, Soul Assumption to burst him down. You've got the Shackle Shot, the Wind Run, and the 4-staff. Even if Pycat had farm, I don't know how much he'd be allowed to use it right now, and, well, he doesn't have farm, like you said. I mean, you look at his net worth, he's an Alchemist who's the 4th poorest hero in the game. That's pretty scary.
It just goes back to the decision of the lanes. And
the early failed smoke gank as well.
Yeah, that's the big one as well. I mean, I'm not too sure whether you just want to go offensive trialing versus... or going defensive trialing against Orange's offensive trialing, which is somewhat scary because there's the Visage. But at the same time, their lane just didn't really work out too much. And Visage, if you look at him, he's got himself Arcane Boots and now Medallion of Courage. That Medallion recently got a buff, and that's 1,000 cast range against heroes like Crystal Maiden, who has no armor, Alchemist, who has no armor. That's going to be one of the biggest, most cost-effective item that he can pick up right now with this.
So much damage, and truth be told, they're not lacking for damage. We saw that in the last fight. The nukes are plenty. The mech for Darkseer is finally out, but they're going to catch him. Familiar number 1, familiar number 2. Burrow through, follow-up power shot. Down he'll go. Orange, they're just rolling this game, and I feel like LGDN, it's going to be very hard, not only to come back because of hero composition, but simply to find momentum, because Orange isn't making mistakes, and they're keeping the pressure up, and LGDN feels like they're getting cooked right now.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a wombo combo, LGDN doesn't have the levels for it right now. Brax is level 6, so he's got sort of an Echo Slam, maybe, and you need a Darkseer vacuum wall, which he's nowhere near maxing either, so...
He's actually somewhat close. He is level 11. He's got a level 3 vacuum.
I don't know if you can find that level 12, the way that Radiant's been playing.
That's
I just don't
true.
think you're going to have farm.
And even if you do, more importantly, there soon will be double 4-staff because Ohio's going for one next, and you've already got the mech that negates a lot of the damage. The heroes on Orange, some of them quite naturally tanky. KYXY getting tanky through items. We'll see a hook in. Misery's going to dive KYXY. The TP's come now. So does the call down. Pycat gets off the stun. Brax just waiting for a fissure here. He'll only clip KYXY, though, a little bit late to catch out the other heroes who are TPing in. Brax will go down. Actually, a little bit early, I meant to say. Now the chase is on. Pycat on the run. They're going to GG 18-6, 16 minutes in. I have not seen many beatdowns harder than this one. Of course, it's still just one game. 1-1, the series now tied up. But Orange Esports, wow. This OD pick working out beautifully. The Windrunner tri-lane working out beautifully. Everything went their way in game 2.
Yeah, LGD just did not find the offense that they need to find. When you pick CK Earthshaker, and I think I've begun a sentence like that 4 times already, or 5 times. It's just
CM Earthshaker.
It's just a very risky dual support that needs to get a lot of early game done, and they didn't. And that's kind of like a risky strategy that you went for. It just didn't work out. So.
And even things like running a Darkseer as one of your core farmers, he has to rush the mech, and he has to get it fast. And a Darkseer doesn't necessarily contribute as much to big team fights as something like a Magnus, maybe a Beastmaster where you have a reliable AoE. Darkseer needs level 11, level 12, and the mech. But By the time he had it, game was already over.
Yeah, he's just simply not as good against certain supports, such as Visage that could keep his distance, Shaker that could get away easily, Windrunner that could shackle you up. Those shackle shots were absolutely beautiful and a big contributor in terms of how they won the game.
Well, Extinct now advances to 7-0 on Visage, and the hero just keeps on finding ways to win. Lumi, that was one of the most one-sided games I've cast in a very long time.
Yeah.
LGDN, they looked very good and, well, not perfect in game 1, but they made all the right decisions later on in the game. They didn't overextend. They kind of calmed themselves down in that game. Now the question is, can they calm themselves down in this series?
I feel that they have a better chance if they play a little bit more of a safer strat, go for some sort of late game. Same thing with Orange Esport. I feel like these teams are very evenly matched. If you're going to go for some sort of risky strat, I mean, maybe they felt like we're up a game. Let's go for something, practice a little bit here.
Of course, it's a best of 3, but if you lose this game, you drop to 1-2 in the group, and it's not impossible for LGDN to advance, but it does get significantly harder. I believe they still have DK on their docket in days to come. I could be wrong about that, but I think they still have to play DK. They're sitting pretty at 2-0 in the group. As for Orange Esports, they win this game. They'll be off to a hot start, 1-0 in Group B. Guys, we're not done yet. When we come back, it'll be your deciding Game 3. LGD International, they get crushed in Game 2, but can they come back in Game 3? We'll find out after this.